I used to sell cancer, heart attack, and stroke insurance. I went door to door, and I heard all of the stories. I saw old people, young people, everything in between, all different kinds of cancer. The story is always the same. It's either they went through chemo and they died, or they went through chemo, they made it through, and then they relapsed, and it was worse than it was before they started the chemo. And I didn't want that result for my kid. My name is Aaron Holub. My son Gideon was diagnosed with Blastic Plasmacytoid dendritic cell Neoplasm.
It's very hard and difficult.
The fall of 2017, we saw kind of like a bump on his arm, and we went in for his well-child visit at the end of November, and they didn't know what it was, so they referred us to a dermatologist. Saw them in December of 2017, and they didn't know what it was, so they took a biopsy. Apparently they knew the results before Christmas, but they didn't tell us until after. So we got the phone call on January 2nd of 2018 that he had Blastic Plasmacytoid dendritic cell Neoplasm, and we didn't even know what that was. So it's a super rare cancer. Mayo Clinic told us that over 80% of the kids have success with treatment, and I took that study home. I read the original study where it came from, and it was a 25 kid study. At the end of 5 years, only 9 were still alive. So I don't know where they got that number from, but I wanted better than 36% for my kid. They all are treating Blastic Plasmacytoid dendritic cell Neoplasm with high-risk acute lymphoblastic leukemia treatment, which is basically an intense regimen of chemo. And they're all getting the same results. You know, it's about 1 out of 3 live. So yeah, they got started with the chemo, and when we started, it was 43 centimeters circumference around his arm. So it was like he had an extra 5 pounds of weight on his arm. Yeah, we were in there for 5 weeks. He had anaphylactic shock to one of the drugs, pegaspargase. His lips turned blue, he couldn't breathe, he got all sweaty, nose started bleeding. So they had to stab him with an EpiPen. They put oxygen on his face and put Benadryl into his IV line. And he came out of it. He was pretty tired the rest of the day. But for me, it was like PTSD to watch my kid almost die in front of my eyes. You know, I was literally like slapping his face gently to, Gideon, stay with us. You know, his eyes are rolling around his head. So that happened, and they said, okay, we can't use that drug anymore. So we're gonna use Erwinia. It's a different drug. So it works in a lot the same way, but it's a different drug. So hopefully he won't have a reaction to it. So we did that, no reaction. We actually saw the tumor decrease a little bit, but then they used that drug again a couple months later, and he had the reaction again, similar to the last time, and started doing my own research online, trying to figure things out, because I'm from a mindset that there's always something else that can be done, find a way. So we started looking for other options. We knew that Mayo was going to get us started with chemo like right away, and we weren't convinced that that was the best option. There is no standard of care for what we're doing. Blastic Plasmacytoid dendritic cell Neoplasm is like so rare in kids. At the time that he was diagnosed, he was the 75th kid. My brother was doing some research because he had popped over to our house while Gideon was doing one of the treatments, and he saw the arm and he's like, whoa, that got really big since the last time I saw it without the bandage on. So that got his brain going. So he hopped on the internet, started looking around, trying to find something different to see if there's anything else out there that could help Gideon, and he ran across Causenta. So I went on the website and talked to, I put in a little query into the Causenta website on a Friday night. I was in the hospital anyways. I was probably up till 1 in the morning because I couldn't sleep. I filled that out, and the next morning I got a phone call from Tom for that consultation, 30-minute consultation. It's probably 2.5 hours. And I knew right away that this was different. It was just amazing to see how much difference there was just in 2 weeks of, 1 week at Causenta, 1 week inpatient for chemo. Every time we get here, it's smaller and smaller and smaller. So now his right arm and his left arm are almost the same size, which is crazy. We still have some work to do because with how big that tumor was, we have muscle atrophy in the arm. So the left arm is going to have to get smaller than the right arm in order for the cancer to be completely gone. But we are so close, and I'm so happy that we're here. We didn't really have any real hope until we started to see results. Before we got here, it was just constant worry. Are we going to get this thing to shrink? Is this going to take our kid's life? And if it does, that's God's plan. But we want him here, Today, Gideon's arm is 15.4 centimeters. We're having such amazing success here at Causenta, and I don't even know how to express how much thanks and gratitude I have to everyone that has donated, especially those from the Symmetry family. In a short amount of time, you folks raised $30,000 to help Gideon, and we've made a ton of progress. We just need help to cross the finish line. The original fundraiser goal was $75,000. We just need $45,000 more to finish the job and help Gideon cross the finish line. This is for Gideon.